Cowboys fans, buckle up because this season just got a lot more interesting. After that big win, there's finally some life back in the playoff hopes, and it's worth taking a moment to appreciate just how critical that victory was. The season isn't over, but let's be honest, it's been hanging by a thread for quite a while. A loss to the Raiders, and we'd be in full panic mode, talking about shakeups and questioning the direction of the team. But a win changes the tone completely. Suddenly, the minimal hopes for a postseason push are alive, and that's something worth celebrating, even if the odds are still stacked against us. To actually make a run, the Cowboys need to go on a serious streak down the stretch, and it won't be easy. Every game counts. The schedule is tough, and they can't afford too many slip-ups, especially against teams outside the division, because those losses could seriously damage their tiebreaker situation. The upcoming matchup against Philadelphia is almost a must-win, and games against the Chiefs, Lions, and Vikings aren't exactly throwaways either. The Chiefs are struggling to maintain their own playoff chances, but they're never easy opponents. The Lions are fighting to stay relevant in the playoff picture, and the Vikings have had their own issues this year. Add the Chargers and the Commanders into the mix, and you can see how crucial every single game becomes. To realistically give themselves a shot, the Cowboys have to win at least 3 out of the next 4 key matchups. It's a tall order, but that win against the Raiders was a perfect first step, giving fans a reason to be cautiously optimistic. Now it's up to the team to capitalize and keep that momentum alive. But let's not get carried away. Just because the defense played well against a struggling Raiders offense doesn't mean everything is magically fixed. This is where perspective matters. The Raiders are historically one of the weaker teams in the league this season, and their offensive struggles made the Cowboys' defensive success more likely. There were flashes of brilliance, no doubt. Players like Kunims and others looked phenomenal on the field, making game-changing plays that energized the entire squad. But beating a bottom-tier offense is not the same as proving the defense is ready to handle elite-level challenges. Philadelphia, Kansas City, and Detroit have shown they can put up points in ways the Raiders simply cannot. So the Cowboys' defense will face a true test very soon. The Raiders' game was encouraging, yes, but let's not fool ourselves into thinking that every defensive problem has been solved overnight. There is still work to do, adjustments to make, and consistency to achieve. This is an important nuance for fans who are tempted to overreact and declare the defense fully rejuvenated. Meanwhile, the wide receiver situation has been a highlight this season, with both George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb playing at an elite level. The dynamic between these two is fascinating because they complement each other perfectly. The Raiders focused so much on CeeDee Lamb that Pickens was able to dominate, showcasing 9 catches for 144 yards and a touchdown. Lamb also contributed with 5 catches for 66 yards and a score, but the story was how Pickens thrived with the extra attention taken off him. This tandem gives the Cowboys a luxury that few teams enjoy: 2 high-caliber receivers capable of changing the game. The chemistry and synergy between them are undeniable. They push each other to perform at their best, and defenses have a hard time adjusting when both are on fire. Pickens, in particular, is having a career year. He is closing in on 1,000 yards for the season and has already racked up 58 catches and 7 touchdowns. These numbers put him in franchise history territory for the first 10 games of the season, surpassing even some of the greats who have worn the Cowboys uniform. With this level of production and the way he elevates the entire offense, it's clear that securing him long-term is a no-brainer. The conversation about paying him isn't about money being a problem. Dallas has the resources to lock in key players without compromising the rest of the roster. This is a player who is delivering historic production, perfectly fitting into Dak Prescott's offensive rhythm, and the Cowboys need to ensure he remains a centerpiece for years to come. It wasn't all smooth sailing, though. There was some controversy around the opening drive, where Pickens and Lamb were held out due to disciplinary reasons. Fans initially reacted strongly, questioning the decision, but in hindsight, it was a smart move by the coaching staff to reinforce accountability and team culture. Discipline is part of building a championship-caliber team, and this was a calculated step to ensure standards are maintained. Even with that early absence, both receivers responded brilliantly once they hit the field, making it clear that their talent is undeniable and that they are capable of rising above small setbacks. It's a reminder that coaching decisions, even those that seem harsh in the moment, are often aimed at long-term benefits rather than immediate gratification. The Cowboys also saw a breakout performance from Quentin Williams, who has quickly made an impact after joining the team. The defensive line looked dominant with him in the first half, creating pressure and limiting the Raiders' offensive options. Williams' debut was exactly what fans hoped for, a mix of raw talent and immediate productivity. The Raiders had no answer for him, and his presence alone disrupted plays consistently. This kind of performance sets the tone for what Dallas can expect from their new acquisitions, showing that thoughtful roster moves can pay dividends immediately. Williams' ability to influence the game at both the line of scrimmage and in key pressure situations highlights the importance of having versatile players who can change the course of a matchup in an instant. It's exciting to see how he will continue to integrate into the defensive schemes as the season progresses. Looking at the overall picture, the Cowboys have a lot to be optimistic about, but the path forward is not without obstacles. Wins are critical, and every game from here on out has playoff implications. Key players are stepping up at the right moments, but consistency and execution against tougher opponents will determine whether this team can turn its potential into reality. Fans are witnessing flashes of brilliance, historic performances, and strategic decisions that reinforce team culture, but they also need to temper their excitement with a dose of reality. This mix of hope and caution makes following the Cowboys at this point in the season incredibly compelling, and every game feels like a pivotal chapter in what could be a defining year for America's team. Now, let's dive deeper into the dynamics that make this Cowboys team so intriguing right now. Offense has been a huge talking point, and for good reason. Dak Prescott is hitting his stride at the perfect time, distributing the ball with precision and reading defenses like a seasoned chess player. He's not just throwing. He's orchestrating, ensuring that both his star receivers, Pickens and Lamb, are involved and that the running game is flowing efficiently. Tony Pollard has been a vital piece in balancing the attack, and the offensive line is giving Prescott the protection he needs to make those big plays. But what's fascinating is how the defense contributes indirectly to the offense's rhythm. When the defensive line, led by guys like Quentin Williams, puts consistent pressure on opposing quarterbacks, Prescott gets more opportunities to capitalize, and the receivers thrive. This synergy is why the Cowboys' wins feel more complete. Every facet of the team feeds off each other, creating momentum that's hard to stop once it starts rolling. Speaking of momentum, the psychological aspect of this team cannot be overstated. Coming off a win like the one against the Raiders, the energy in the locker room has to be through the roof. Confidence is contagious, and players feed off each other. The offense has swagger, the defense has belief, and the coaching staff can finally breathe a little after seeing their plans executed so effectively. But that momentum is fragile. The next few games are going to test their resilience in ways that a win over a struggling team cannot simulate. Philadelphia is coming, and even if the Eagles haven't been lighting up the scoreboard consistently, division games are always intense. Rivalries add pressure, and every misstep is magnified. The Cowboys need to bring their A-game mentally and physically to avoid squandering the advantages they've built. One of the most fascinating elements this season has been the emergence of players who are exceeding expectations. George Pickens is the star everyone notices, but the supporting cast has been equally essential. CeeDee Lamb's ability to stretch the field and draw coverage creates opportunities not just for himself, but for Pickens and others in the receiving corps. Tight ends, running backs, and even slot receivers are benefiting from the defensive attention these two draw. It's a classic domino effect. One player shines, the defense adjusts, and the others exploit the gaps that open up. This isn't just luck. It's a testament to smart coaching, thoughtful game planning, and players understanding their roles in complex offensive schemes. Now, let's talk about depth, because it's going to matter down the stretch. Injuries and fatigue are part of every NFL season, and teams that survive the late-season grind usually have talent beyond the starters. The Cowboys have shown flashes of that depth, but the real challenge will be whether backups can step in and perform when starters inevitably miss time. The offensive line rotation, defensive substitutions, and special teams contributions could make the difference between a win and a loss in crucial games. It's not glamorous, but it's a reality of championship-level football. Fans often focus on the stars, but those unsung contributions can shift a season's trajectory dramatically. Looking at the schedule, every matchup from now until the end of the season is a critical one. The Cowboys can't rely solely on their big wins. They have to prove consistency. Facing teams like Kansas City, Detroit, and Minnesota will require more than just offensive fireworks. The defense has to hold up under pressure. The Raiders game showed what's possible when matchups favor Dallas. But the real proof will be in how they respond against elite offenses and disciplined teams that can exploit even minor lapses. Game planning, preparation, and execution will all be tested, and this stretch could define whether the Cowboys are remembered as a team that rose to the occasion or one that faltered when stakes were highest. Quentin Williams' debut also hints at something deeper. The Cowboys' front office has been strategic in their acquisitions. Adding players who can make an immediate impact is a hallmark of well-managed teams, and it shows a long-term vision beyond just this season. Williams isn't just a one-game wonder. He represents the potential for sustained defensive dominance if developed properly. The balance of veterans and young talent, combined with high-character players who embrace the team culture, is what makes this roster exciting. These are the elements that can carry a team beyond a single season, turning potential into a dynasty if managed correctly. The quarterback play remains the anchor. Prescott's health, poise, and decision-making are vital. When he's on, the offense hums. When pressured or dealing with distractions, cracks can appear. That's why protection from the offensive line and game planning around matchups is crucial. The offensive line has been solid, but consistency is everything, and facing teams with dynamic pass rushers will be a significant challenge. Prescott's ability to adapt mid-game and keep the offense on track will likely decide the outcome of some of the most critical contests in the coming weeks. But before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Dallas Cowboys. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. The NFL world is buzzing with whispers and speculation tonight after the shocking turn of events during the game between the Dallas Cowboys and the Las Vegas Raiders, which was abruptly called off under circumstances that are raising more questions than answers. Fans in the stadium were left stunned as the announcement came over the loudspeakers, and social media exploded with clips showing chaotic and controversial scenes on the field. Sources close to team operations hint at disagreements that may have spiraled out of control, but no official explanation has been confirmed. Eyewitnesses describe moments that could only be called extraordinary. Players gesturing wildly, referees engaged in heated discussions, and a palpable tension that seemed to escalate by the minute. Some insiders suggest that what unfolded might involve disputes over officiating calls, or even an on-field confrontation that neither team could contain. Videos circulating online show fragments of players and coaches in animated debates, but with so many angles and conflicting clips, the truth remains elusive. Speculation is rife about potential repercussions for both teams. Could fines or suspensions be on the horizon? League officials have remained tight-lipped, which only fuels the rumor mill further. Industry pundits are already weighing in, debating whether this incident could set a precedent for how the NFL handles unexpected chaos in high-stakes matchups. The abrupt cancellation has also sent waves through betting circles and fantasy football leagues, leaving fans scrambling to make sense of an event that seemed poised to deliver a thrilling showdown. Meanwhile, both Cowboys and Raiders insiders are reportedly conducting their own internal reviews. Those sources say that any statements might be delayed as they try to untangle exactly what happened on the turf. In the meantime, speculation thrives. Was this a moment of spontaneous chaos, a clash of egos, or a sign of deeper tensions simmering beneath the surface of these high-profile teams? Whatever the answer, one thing is clear. This game has already entered NFL lore, not for the score or the highlights, but for the controversy that refuses to settle quietly. Fans, commentators, and even former players are all weighing in, each with their own theories, adding fuel to what could become one of the most talked about non-games in recent memory. The league may eventually release an official statement, but until then, the rumors, whispers, and wild speculation continue to dominate the conversation, keeping the NFL universe on edge. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Dallas Cowboys, please subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. We always look forward to your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.